Good evening. I'd like to call to order a special meeting of the Board of Education for Tuesday, April 9th, 2013. Kathy, would you call the roll, please?
Roberts. Here. Hodge.
Here.
Interlong.
Here.
Dremel.
Here.
Blakely.
Here.
Capura.
Here.
Knight.
Here. Please rise for the pledge. Ms. Blake, would you lead us this evening?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. We do have one item on the agenda this evening. I am going to move around a little bit on the agenda. First, the only item we do have on the agenda this evening is action regarding the charter school proposal. And what I'm going to do is we're going to hear the administrative recommendation first on the charter school proposal, field board comments, then prior to the vote we will take visitors' comments. So I am just going to move it around a little bit tonight. So recognition of visitors, we will move till after board member comments. Dr. Barshinger, item 4, action regarding charter school proposal. Administrative recommendation, please.
And we made the administrative recommendation available in the hallway as you came in with the agendas, so if anybody needs a copy, I believe there are copies on the table in the hallway as you came in. Wanted to take you through a little bit of a short summary this evening, but Virtual Learning Solutions filed a proposal on February 14th with the Batavia Public Schools and 17 other school districts. They are seeking the Board of Education's approval to launch an Illinois virtual charter school at Fox River Valley. The Board of Education reviewed the proposal along with the presentation made by the representatives from Virtual Learning Solutions at a public meeting on March 19th. And during the public meeting, BPS administrators asked more than 100 questions of Virtual Learning Solutions. VLS Representative Eric Cohn and K-12 Representative Tamara Carpenter answered less than 30 of those questions. Representative Cohn and Carpenters repeatedly stated that they would provide answers to the questions proposed. On March 22nd, Charnel Jackson, the president of VLS, communicated that VLS was unable to provide responses to the questions of March 18th. Actually, our meeting was on the 19th. The email went on to say that we sincerely hope that your board will consider the information we provided to you next week. The superintendent, I never received any information from Virtual Learning Solutions, but 17 days later on April 5th, my secretary did discover an email from Charnel Jackson. That email stated that she hoped we will find the answers, explanations, and additional information provided in the attachment helpful in the review of the charter school proposal. The PDF file contained 1,080 pages of information. However, there was no rationale provided regarding the organization of the PDF. I will say personally, have spent hours on that PDF trying to find answers to our question. Very few are contained within that document from what I could read. So we would like to recommend to you that you deny the proposal. There are 5 compliance violations as well as other substantial errors within the document. We find that the proposal does not comply with the specific requirements of the Charter School Act because it was not submitted as a proposed contract. Therefore, you can't really see what the proposal may look like. It does not contain goals or student information performance standards to be achieved by the charter school. The proposal fails to provide a description of the school's pupil performance standards, the timeline for achievement of those standards, and the procedures for taking corrective action in the event that pupil performance falls below the standards. Number 4, the proposal fails to demonstrate that the terms are economically sound for the charter school and the Batavia School District 101. And 5, the proposal fails to describe the nature and extent of parental, professional educator, and community involvement in the governance and operation of the proposed school. So based on that information and the charter school proposal and information contained at our public hearing from Mr. Cohn and Ms. Carpenter, we don't feel that there is any compliance with the law of a charter school proposal. So I would recommend to you that you reject the proposal as presented. Just for budgetary consideration, as we do with every amendment, should you approve this, the proposed estimated cost would be, to next year's budget would be anywhere from $144,000 to $752,000 reduction of what would be available in the 13-14 budget.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Barshinger. At this time, I would take board member questions, comments, please.
Start.
Greg, go ahead.
I want to start out and say that I'm not against any kind of virtual learning or some type of computer-oriented learning. Obviously, we've spent a lot of money and budgeted a lot of money towards our IT and its learning opportunities or possibilities it has. So I think there's merit in that future, and I think it's untapped, and we'll see ours grow and our opportunities grow. But I have a problem with the accountability or lack of accountability that their board seems to show or prove to us, whom I think a majority of them have no affiliation with any of the 18 school districts that they're, I don't know if I should use the word attacking or going after, but, so I have a real problem with it, so obviously my support will be no.
Other board member comments, questions?
I also would agree with what Greg had to say. And several weeks ago, Dr. Barshinger sent me an email that said really there are two things that the board needs to consider when considering this proposal from Virtual Learning Solutions. One is that does the proposal provide more options to the parents and students in the district? And two, does it provide an equal or better learning environment and learning opportunities for the students in the district? Well, on the first point, it obviously provides options. So I would have to say it passes that, which in my mind is fairly minor. On the second point, from what I have seen of the K-12 organization, which is going to actually provide the educational input and do the data testing and analysis, it does not compare to Batavia Public Schools. It's considerably worse. In fact, I would say there's no comparison. I think Batavia Public Schools provides an excellent education with excellent staff. And I don't think Virtual Learning Solutions can compete with that. For parents who are looking for online alternatives, anybody can go online and access Khan Academy. It's free. I believe it's K-12 lessons that are available there. For those with gifted students, Stanford University offers Stanford Virtual High School for gifted students. I don't know what the finances are involved with that, but that's an option too. And, you know, both of those options are at no cost to the district. So there are other options out there for people who want a virtual opportunity, and probably better than what has been proposed to us. And certainly, what has been proposed to us is not better than what people will find in Batavia Public Schools. So,
Okay, thank you, Kathy. Other board member comments?
I just have a, we know that K-12, who presented to us, did not give us any information to the questions we provided. But I know there are successful charter schools out there. I spoke to a teacher in our district who actually has a daughter who is being educated through a charter school that is very successful, but made a statement saying that K-12 is not. They have this reputation of not being a successful program. Did any other companies approach virtual learning systems, or was it just K-12? Or I guess that's was the only option to go through with K-12 and virtual learning systems, or?
Like I had said before, we did not solicit this or nor request this proposal. And this proposal was supposed to come to us in the form of a contract.
Okay.
Where this virtual learning has contracted with K-12 and these are the guidelines. And that did not happen. So yeah, the question of even asking, is the option there for another provider or whatnot, isn't really even in this realm right now, because when they came to us with a contract, they were supposed to come to us with a contract that was a contract where we sit down, we review it, then we decide, and they could not even meet those terms. So yeah, there was really no other option of any other providers or anything. And again, we did not, just like the original proposal, didn't solicit it or request any other data on that, so. Other board members, Joe?
I guess the thing that bothers me a little bit is the school code lays out a very clear protocol for making a determination whether to accept or reject a proposal like this. And I guess what concerns me the most is that in that protocol is a chance for the public to get a feel for what this school or what these people are going to bring to the table. And we really didn't have that happen here. That meeting that we had to have, and we followed the protocol, that meeting that we had to have within 45 days of the proposal wasn't really anything. We asked a bunch of questions, we got no answers. And I think K-12 virtual learning schools did a very big disservice to this community. I don't know what happened in the other communities, but they essentially thumbed their nose at the process. And then they turn around and send a 1,000-page document that is very difficult to get out to the community, to get any community input into that document. So from a transparency standpoint, it's almost like they wanted to avoid any public information about this thing. That's the only assumption that I can come up with. So based on that, plus what the administration has put together here, the hours that they put in on this, I'm going to have to support the administrative recommendation on this.
Any other board member comments or questions?
I would just say, to piggyback on what Joe said, some of my discomfort from this comes from the teachers and administrators in this district. When we have questions or need explanations or further information, go above and beyond to provide us information so we can make good decisions. And that's a really important part, having 7 non-professionals sitting on a board. So I have a huge amount of discomfort that we provided questions ahead of time, asked very important questions that would give us the information to make a good decision for the people of Batavia, the students of Batavia. And then even, a month later, we do not have answers. I read through the proposal, probably only 200 pages, and there was never any addressing of any of the very specific questions that we asked. And so I'm extremely uncomfortable at that lack of accountability and that lack of communication and that lack of information. And we're expected to make a decision that would affect the students in our district. And I'm frankly appalled at the way that that was handled. And so I would agree with Joe. I don't see how there would be any way to support this.
Thank you, Kathy. Jack, do you have anything?
I concur with all the things you said. I'm just, when they said that I was, as an educator, I was rather embarrassed to think that somebody couldn't respond to the questions that were placed before them with regard to how they're going to teach students and how they're going to measure whether they achieve, and all the other pieces that no one was there to be able to respond. And the fact that they did say that a blended approach to learning was really better than just a virtual approach totally, in their own words, because the person representing them was a person that coordinated the blended program that they have, because I do think that a blended program would be well. But no, I agree totally with the rest of the members of the board that this is not something that they thought well enough to be able to be prepared to communicate to the community and to the board what it was that they were going to, how they were going to go about doing this.
Okay, thank you, Jack. Well, in closing, before we take some public comments, I would just like to add, too, I want to thank the administration for the time spent in reviewing this, the board members for the time which they spent reviewing this, but I believe our real battle is coming. I believe our real battle is coming downstate. And I think it's time that we as individuals and boards and community members notify the state politicians and people responsible for exactly how we feel about this. It was extremely apparent to me that the entities that were presenting here were following each guideline to eventually get to the state level. No one in any sort of business, education, or whatever it may be, sends a group of people that ill-prepared to answer very basic but sincere questions on education and how it's going to affect your community. So I really think as we take our vote at this level, the bigger issue comes at people, us boards, community members, teachers, pressuring people to contact the state and continue to let them know our displeasure with this program and things that could, that could affect children. We sit here as a board and we attempt to make decisions that are in the best interest of the community and the best interest for children. Yes, there probably are some children that could benefit from a virtual learning program, but the program itself has to be top flight. It has to meet the achievements and the goals that we strive for and the professional educators here in Batavia strive for. When something comes forward with this, as it did the other evening, as I think Jack Hinderlong said it the best, it was almost kind of embarrassing. It was embarrassing to definitely people that were here to answer the questions, but more embarrassing to like the overall condition of education or educational changes in the state. I don't mean education, but there's an option here that people have obviously picked out at the state level that they can get into districts and really kind of alter or change the way education has been presented to the communities for years and years. And it'd be different if it was a school or if it was a group that really answered the questions, had a track record of experience in other areas of the country and other districts, and even had the respect for this district and the community, the kids to come prepared. They brought none of that with them when they did that proposal. So at this point in time, I'm going to open up the public comments, but I really think our issue, we have to continue to keep this pressure on at the state level just to let them know we're aware of what's going on. We're not opposed to a program, but we are opposed to a program that doesn't adequately serve the needs of the students in not only Batavia, but in any community. So I want to thank everyone for all their time and effort that they put into that, to research this. And we will move on to public comments now.
Can I ask the question?
Sure,
of the
Jack, go ahead.
administration before? If we want, obviously we're going to vote no on this, but if it goes to their, what legal action can we take, if any, towards the commission if we believe that they didn't follow the rules of the game, the law, or is
Since
that
you
coming
said
later?
law, let's turn to John Fester.
We have John Fester, our board attorney, in the audience this evening. John?
Yes, what would happen, what happens next is that they'll be appealing to the Charter Commission. And there'll be a hearing before the Charter Commission sometime within 45 days after the appeal is filed.
And
They
that
have
hearing-
30 days to file.
In that hearing, will you or
Probably gonna-
our superintendent represent us there? at the hearing?
Absolutely.
Okay.
We'll decide, the board will decide who represents your interests there. And we'll request to make a verbal presentation to the Charter Commission before they take any action on this. We'll also be filing, after your vote tonight, we're required to file a report with the State Board and the Charter Commission, further detailing the reasons that you presented tonight and that the administration has presented. It'll be a good 20 pages plus exhibits. So we'll get that back to you once we file it. That'll be filed hopefully by Friday. So we'll send you a copy of that so you can take a look at what we have on file. And then, yes, if we ultimately go to the Charter Commission and it's unsuccessful, the Charter Commission, let's say, votes to overturn all the 18 boards, because I'm just guessing 18 boards are saying no, based on what happened last night and what I think is happening tonight. I don't think there'll be a board that supports this. So if they overturn it, what happens then is that's what's called a final administrative decision that can be appealed to circuit court. So we would then take the commission to court and challenge their decision as not complying with the law. So that's the option that goes forward. Obviously, by the time we get there, we'll be having more discussions with you. And you'll be deciding as a board what to authorize and what not to authorize in terms of legal action. Ultimately, it can go to the circuit court. If that's not successful, you have a right to go to the appellate court. If that's not successful, you have to petition to go to the Illinois Supreme Court. That's the only appeal that isn't of right.
Thank you.
John,
Yes.
assuming that some of these steps may occur
Yes.
down the road, but ultimately, the districts who voted no are allowed to proceed with that no decision. Is there any way to recoup monetarily the time that our administrators have spent reviewing this?
I'm not
The
aware of any.
fees we are going to pay your firm?
I'm not aware of any cause of action that would make them liable for the work that's been done here. It would be mostly considered a voluntary undertaking, because technically, you could have just taken this thing and passed it out and said, read it yourselves and do what you want with it. But the administration put in a lot of thoughtful time and effort into reviewing it and analyzing it. I just think that was part of an investment in doing what's right for your community. But if I can find a way, I will. We'll look. We'll look.
Okay, thank you. We are going to proceed to the public comment section this evening. Mr. Miller, good evening.
My name is Howard Miller. I live at 1137 Pine Street in Batavia, and I'm a member of the Northern Illinois Jobs with Justice. And again, I appreciate your giving me the opportunity to speak about K-12 Incorporated. Before I do, we had a meeting, we, Northern Illinois Jobs with Justice, had a meeting last Saturday, and a school board member from Naperville who was in attendance, and she suggested that all 18 districts act together to support a repeal of Senate Bill 79, the Springfield legislation that created the unelected, all-powerful Illinois Charter Commission that has the power to reject and override a local community's elected officials' decision-making in something like this. And we're going to be working with her and support her on that. And if anybody would like any more information, my email address and phone number is on the form. K-12 operates schools that are being threatened with shutdowns in Pennsylvania, Texas, and Tennessee. Under investigation for grade manipulation in Florida, violation of student civil rights in Georgia, falsifying student attendance records in Colorado and Florida, and in Arkansas, it listed students as inactive rather than sending them back to their home districts, and did not reveal that more than half of the students in the K-12 schools dropped out, or did not return in the following year. Their performance record shows much lower student scores than schools in comparative districts in Massachusetts, Tennessee, North Carolina, Wisconsin, and Illinois, and lower graduation rates and higher dropout rates in Ohio. K-12, as you know, is a for-profit organization. Its initial investor in the company include Michael R. Milliken and Lowell Milliken of education company Knowledge Universe, who along with the Milliken Family Foundation invested $10 million in the organization. And how did they spend their profits? K-12 Incorporated's Director and Chief Executive Officer Ronald J. Packer's 2012 salary was $3,960,499. K-12 Inc. spent nearly $22 million on advertising in the first 8 months of 2012, or about $340 per student. K-12 Inc. has reached a tentative settlement in a class action security lawsuit brought by investigators who said they were misled by the company's business practices and academic performances. The online school provider has agreed to pay $6.75 million to plaintiffs who brought the suit. K-12 is not good for students and is definitely not good for Batavia. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else wish to address the board this evening? Okay, seeing none, the purpose of this meeting this evening is to vote on administrative recommendation or to vote on charter schools. And we do have an administrative recommendation. Dr. Barshinger, would you read that recommendation for me, please, or that resolution?
Do I need to read the resolution?
You don't have to read it, just, I think it'd be, the motion would be to approve the resolution, and a yes vote is to deny the charter application. We had a little confusion last night.
So-
Voting yes is to deny the application.
So we have prepared a resolution that mirrors the administrative recommendations, that mirrors the same reasons for you to deny the petition. So that would be our recommendation to you this evening.
Okay, do you have an administrative recommendation for a resolution to deny the application of charter schools? And an affirmative vote does mean you are denying the process and positive toward the resolution. I would entertain a board motion for approval of the resolution as presented by our legal team and administrators.
So moved.
Okay.
We all want to jump on
Moved by Blakely, second by Roberts. Any further board discussion? Kathy, would you call the roll, please?
Roberts,
Yes.
Hodge,
Yes.
Hinterlaw,
Yes.
Dremmel,
Yes.
Blakely,
Yes.
Purpura,
Yes.
Link.
Yes. Okay, thank you. That is the only item on our agenda this evening. I would entertain a board motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Hodge, second by Roberts. Kathy, would you call the roll, please?
Hold on, here we go. Roberts,
Yes.
Hodge,
Yes.
Hinterlaw,
Yes.
Dremmel,
Yes.
Blakely,
Yes.
Purpura,
Yes.
Link.
Yes. I want to thank everyone for coming out this evening. Even though it was a fairly short issue, it's a very, very important issue. And we will continue to keep you informed on our website and through the communication from the district. And we do have information from the way we can approach this from the state. We'll also continue to look into that. But again, I want to thank everyone and have a good evening.